As people in business and entrepreneurs in general, I'm sure we've heard statements like these. Business is bad. Entrepreneurship is about exploitation, and people in business tend to put profits over people. But today, we're dispelling that myth. Good evening and a warm welcome to Big Budget Business. Today we talk social entrepreneurship, and Kutlwelo Mariri, who we have in studio today, is proof that young entrepreneurs make an earning or make a living whilst also making a positive impact on the lives of others. Kutlwelo, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Big Budget.
All right. Let's start with an introduction of yourself. Tell us about your background, anything that you'd like to share.
My name is Kutlwelo Mariri. I was born and bred in Botswana. We stayed in Gaborone, moved to Mochudi. My father actually felt that we were going to forget the culture. So he took us to the village, you can imagine. Yeah, so I went to school and then eventually I went to study speech and language pathology and audiology in South Africa. It's one of really the newest professions in the world and very new in Botswana. So when I was in South Africa, because I was one of the best students, they said to me, do you want to join us? And I said, no, I want to go and make a difference at home. You know, at that time you're thinking, I just want to make difference at home. You don't even think about it. You know, when you are young, you think you can move the mountains. You've got this, anything is possible when you are young. Yeah. And then you go into it and you're like, what did I get myself into this? But then you get to a point where you cannot go back anymore. You know, you just have to see through the vision that you have and make sure that not turning back, basically.
Oh, no, that's great. Quite a colorful introduction there. Maybe let's talk about your organization or social enterprise, Ambrose Academy. What are its services and what are the pillars that it stands on? And what inspired you to start it?
You know, Big Budget, when I left South Africa, I knew my country needed these services. So I came to the biggest referral hospital, which is Princess Marina Hospital. We marketed, I raised a lot of awareness, developed the department there. But then I was seeing that I was actually just doing assessments now, no longer intervening, and which means that I was not actually making much progress in the child, because I'll see a child in January and see them again in June, you know. So it's like when they're coming back again in June, you are reassessing again, you know what I mean? So eventually I jumped the ship and I said, okay, let me go private because I'm losing my skills as well.
Okay.
So when I went private, I actually thought I was going to deal with adults, not kids. But guess who came to the clinic?
Okay.
Kids all the time.
Kids came to the clinic all the time.
Yeah. And then I felt that, no. Why kids are coming? Because I love kids. You know, I've always babysitted. Even when I was growing up, I was babysitting a lot. I love kids. I like engaging with kids.
Yes.
And eventually I realized, no, okay, even in the private sector, they were just coming for a short period of time. So the whole time, we're not influencing or modeling how they should be benefiting from the service of therapy and stimulating them.
Okay.
Hence, Ambrose Academy was born.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was really about, because, you know, in South Africa, when I was a student, I used to shadow my lecturers a lot. Even in the private times, I'll go and see what they were doing. I learned so much time, you know. And I saw that the schools that were really making a difference, there was a lot of quality care and quality service.
Okay, so this is quality care and quality service for children requiring
special services, you know,
special services.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
So I realized that there was money there.
Okay.
That's why we are seeing this progress, you know. So I knew for me to start anything, we needed money.
That's true.
So I was very reluctant because I didn't want to take kids, waste their time hoping that I'm helping them when we are not really helping them. But I think there were parents who really pushed me and said, no, Kutlwelo, we'll support you. We'll make sure that we fundraise. We'll make sure we do. They make that promise and commitment to say they'll be on board. And hence, we started the stimulation center. Later on, kids became many and we realized that now we need to register a school and have other professionals there. And also because it was impossible for parents to take the kids to school, take them to different therapists. So we wanted to have a one-stop shop.
Yes.
But one-stop shop also meant that the school fees have to go high,
Yes.
very high.
The requirements are also up, so definitely as
You
the
know.
higher they go, your requirements are higher too.
Yeah, and the biggest challenge, I think, big budget was the stigma. There's so much stigma about specialized services. I think we are a country, we are a nation that think when a child has got a challenge, we don't want them to be called special needs. Even if it's very mild and it can actually be addressed in a short period of time, the parents will rather shy away from getting help because of the stigma and everything. So that also makes it so hard for our product to actually evolve and actually people to look at it and say, wow, this is a nice concept. This is what we are trying to do to make sure that we can serve the needs of kids who've got challenges. So the stigma has been a really block for us, a lack of policy making,
Yes,
because it's just like a gray area.
Yes.
And when you go around, you say, okay, we want to do this. People think, I know, but it's a nice idea, but nobody is willing to come forth and help, you know. And when you look at other countries, the kids are being helped.
Yes.
And you look at Botswana and you say, why are we not getting it?
Yes.
Why are we not able to assist our kids in such a way that they get quality? I mean, I'm very proud of them. Some of them have won swimming medals. Some of them are doing well in chess. Some of them are doing well in academics.
Wow.
And we are now currently using the South African curriculum.
Oh, great.
Initially, we wanted to use the Botswana curriculum, but then it was too abstract for them.
Right, so let me just interrupt you there a bit. Just to sum up the journey, you said you started off, yes, of course, in government practice, yes, and then you noted that there was a need for children to have more focused care, children with special needs to have more focused care and help. And then you guys opened the clinic, which had a focus on trying to address whatever challenges you guys felt were not being met.
Yes.
And thereafter, the need for this, people recognized what you were doing, and the numbers grew, and you had to convert that clinic to an academy, which is what Ambrose Academy is now, providing specialist help for young children with different varied needs. I get it.
Yes.
Absolutely. No, that's great. That's interesting. And I think you also highlighted another issue of importance with respect to policy. I also happen to be a co-founder of a non-profit called the Disability Resources and Advocacy Center. And Ghana, it's a bit saddening to note that Botswana, unlike other countries, we haven't yet developed an act with respect to disability. We are still at policy level, but we have noted that progress is being made. But these are some of the issues that you might have faced and been challenging also for you. All right, so now that we've covered that, I think you were talking about the stigma. Maybe continue talking about the stigma, and also in terms of community, how you feel the level of awareness is in terms of community, where you feel people are and where you feel they should be with respect to special needs, and how we can help out the varied aspects that are in that realm.
I think, Big Budget, we need to create a space where we can actually talk about kids in a more safe environment. We rather hide them. And sometimes I say to people, I understand, because if I take my child out and then they behave in a certain way that is not pragmatic, people are going to say, no, she's a spoiled child, he's a spoiled child. And people don't, because of ignorance. But also what I see is that I said to the parents, every time when you don't want us to showcase what the kids can do, we are continuing to increase the stigma and not actually getting rid of the stigma. So there's so much need for awareness to show that a child who can go for speech therapy can be anything, can be a doctor, can be a pilot, can be a lawyer, can be a speech therapist, can be a doctor. They can just be anything, as long as you have acted early. And also, again, it depends on the severity again of the condition. But many cases I've seen that with the mild and moderate cases also, the kids are not accessing help because the parents would rather put the child in a mainstream school where there's no support structure, where the child is actually allowed to work at their own pace. Like I was saying to you earlier on, we had to move from the Botswana curriculum to the South African curriculum impact. Why? Because it's more visual. Why? Because the child can actually work at their own pace. So a child can take about 14 months to do grade 1. And immediately they finish the whole grade, they move immediately. They don't wait for the next year. Yes. And that is actually more important for us in special needs environment, because you don't want to disadvantage any child. Any child who's moving, you need to move there with them. Any child who needs support, you need to go with them so that you can create that support.
Absolutely.
But again, in Botswana, I think we are talking inclusive education. I love inclusive education. That's the ultimate goal. But sometimes I look at it and I'm thinking, we just jump in the ship. Now think about other countries. They've been there. They've paid their dues in the space of special needs children. And we just want to wake up and say we are going inclusive. It can't happen.
Yes.
We need to know what are the needs of special needs kids. And once we have created a special space for them in schools, then now we can talk inclusive.
Absolutely. This is a similar situation that is being faced within the disability space also. In as much as we require inclusive policy making and everything, we need to understand that it's a highly consultative process, and we need to understand the needs that are on the ground before we can jump in and say, okay, no, we've placed this at high level, it's a policy. So baby steps, I feel, as we all engage each other and collaborate, we'll get there.
Yeah, definitely. We just need to focus. I think we can. No, I don't think we can do it. I think we can do it. If other countries can do it, what is stopping us from doing it? Absolutely. We have professionals here. We just need to work together and create that space that we can see the roadmap clearly and say, oh, look at where, one day then look back and say, look at where we're coming from and look where we are now.
No, very true. So let's get into Ambrose Academy. What are the programs that you have currently on your sort of portfolio, and what are your fees?
Our fees are very challenging because it depends on the needs of the child.
Okay. And that's justified.
Because the more the child needs support, like occupational therapy, speech therapy, physiotherapy, it keeps on adding, even the hearing aids. But like we have standard fees for school fees, like 18.2, if I'm not mistaken, and other contributing extras that are going on. But like you remember, we are a specialized school.
Yes.
We have kids who are doing very well academically because of the support that we are giving.
Yes.
We have kids who are even doing grade 4 as we speak.
Great.
And then also we have kids who really seek therapy intervention late and who are struggling academically. So we said as a school, okay, it doesn't mean that if they cannot do well academically, they cannot do other things very well. So we put in extracurricular activity, swimming, chess, cooking, dancing, music, so tennis. So we have put those things together so that we can actually look at the strength of the kids, and that those who are really good with chess, those who are we're thinking, okay, one day this child may be a chef. This one can actually run a swimming school because they're very good at swimming. So we have got all these extra activities that are going on, and we're really building onto them to make sure that we create a platform that even a child who's not doing academically can earn a living from one of those extracurricular activities. Very important. We're looking at the future.
Of course, it's attainable. It's very possible. And I like how you've turned your passion for children and to help people with these needs into something that you can earn a living off of. And also you are turning this passion into something that is going to make a difference in the long run, because the goal over here is to see people reach their maximum potential. And that's what you're helping to do.
Definitely. And pioneering is not easy. Yes. I mean, big budget, it meant long hours, no time. I always say I've lost my youth years. I've lost so much money, like you're saying, social entrepreneur, because once you want to build, everything that comes out, everything that you get, you just keep on building it back so that eventually you can look back and say, right now I'm very proud of the product. It's actually shaping up very well and very nicely. And I think I'm going to even cut the hours and say now it's time to really take good care of Kutlwelo now, because I've been so busy taking care of the kids. Yes. I need a little bit of time out so that I'm able to balance things off.
Definitely. I like that you say it's time to take care of Kutlwelo now. All right. You and I are both alumni of the Mandela Washington Fellowship. Now, I want you to tell me about your Kutlwelo's personal journey. You're saying that you've lost some years of your youth, but we don't think so. But anyway, tell us about your personal journey. What collaborative agendas have you had? I mean, what other programs or awards or anything that has sort of built you towards the point that you're at today?
It's very important, and now this is what I want to encourage all Botswana, young and old, that sometimes we have to accept where we are and realize that we need to learn from other people. So when Ohio University, for example, contacted me and say, we want to visit the clinic, you want to visit the school, we want to see what you guys are doing.
Wow.
I welcome them.
Yes.
Because, and I think they've really, really shaped the school to be where it is because they brought in the expertise. Imagine as a young business, you can't afford consultation with professors.
Yes, it's very difficult
Yeah.
sometimes.
So to be given that support really shaped Ambrose Academy to be where it is because every year Ohio University will come, assess, and also to balance everything. And also because generally in Botswana, you know that when you're giving a service, people are always thinking it's a substandard service, right? So it's always good.
Unfortunately, that's true, unfortunately.
So Ohio University actually, what it created was that it created a space for us to allow the parents to be able to consult international partners, and then we're able to compare notes.
Yes.
And say, are we giving what we're supposed to be giving? And then we realized that most of the time, what Ohio University did is that it actually came with the same goals that we actually have set for the child.
Yes.
So that really validated and saying, no, we are in the right track. And they were holding our hands, which was very important for us. So we have enjoyed that until this year when the corona happened. So this year we missed our partnership visit and everything. But we are hoping that we talk to them and say, we are hoping that 2021 they should be here. And that has been so awesome. That has been the most important relationship that has actually built Ambrose Academy.
Yes.
And that has actually helped us to build a relationship with American Embassy as well because they have always been supporting and believing in our dream.
Oh, that's great.
And going to Mandela Washington Fellowship was just a blessing in disguise. You know, there are times when you're in the journey, big budget, and you're thinking, was I dreaming? or I need to go back and maybe redefine this whole thing. So that's how I applied for Mandela Washington Fellowship in 2018. And, you know, I went at the right time. I always say, you know, I went at the right time because the school was taking shape.
Yes.
So being able to go for that training meant that I went for intensive entrepreneurship program.
Yes.
And I was able to consult, and I remember going to Professor John Jacket and saying, Prof. John, do you think I'm dreaming? Do you think this is not sustainable?
We get to that point as entrepreneurs where you start to question, but it's all part of the journey. You know, where you question, am I really on the right track? Is it worth it? Or what am I doing right and wrong?
You know what I mean? And at that time you think, that time you start asking those questions, you are assuming a pool of so many questions and a bit of losing, and doubts. Yeah. So John said to me, no, you are in the right track. You just need to keep pivoting it. You'll get there because you are pioneering it. So that was very important for us. And that actually, and he kept saying to me, Kutlwelo, it can't be for free if you want to put quality forth. And remember, even if you are going to sponsor kids, somebody is paying for it. So never think that it has to be free. Somebody has to sponsor this so that you can pay the staff.
Yes.
You can pay for the resources at the school so that you can continue to give service. Passion alone will not pay the bills for the school.
Some very important lessons there for young people. Passion alone sometimes won't cut it.
Yeah.
Passion alone sometimes won't cut it. And it's quite interesting how you're saying that you leveraged off such a platform, you know, such as the Mandela Washington Fellowship for Young African Leaders. You've leveraged on it and it has helped your business. Now you've even established a long-term partnership. You've got yearly visits where people come and see if everything is on track with respect to your social enterprise.
Yeah.
This is remarkable.
No, it has been really remarkable. And because of the Nelson Mandela Washington Fellowship, we're able to get coaching internationally by the University of Texas. You know,
Great.
they were able to work with our top management, try to help us to put things in order. So that is very important, and that is very expensive. Coaching is very expensive, and nowadays all business needs coaches now, so that somebody can say, no, think about it. They don't make the decision for yourself, but they actually make you see all other options. And this year we're really honored when Ambassador Cloud visited the school just to come and look at our partnership with the Americans or Ohio University and how we're just doing, and to appreciate how far we have come. It has been to be acknowledged by ambassador of the US, it's really, you're like, okay. We really worked hard.
I agree with that. Sometimes in as much as you can look into the mirror and say, yes, I am a beast, I am this and that. But, to get some validation also from outside, it shows you that at least, your dreams are not, just nothing. It shows you that, your vision is possible, and if people are buying into it, you're going somewhere, so keep at it.
No, definitely. And I said to Inek is the lady that we really work with. I think they work with Inek, and I said to Inek, you really inspire me, because Inek really works, and her work is top class. So when you're actually shadowing people like that at a distance, they really build you and make you become a better person. So that has been really amazing, Jenny.
That's very important. So the encouragement from that, or pick up from that for young people, is to try as much as possible to get their products and themselves out there, leverage on whatever platforms that there are for young people. Don't be afraid to put in applications for some of these scholarship programs or whatever it is. Just go for it, because your dreams are worth that effort, definitely. And also, you spoke about shadowing. It's important for us to try and shadow people who sort of are already doing what we want to do, or where we want to be as young people. Identify such people and try and follow into their footsteps. They say a wise person learns from the mistakes of others. So if you, in following some of these people and seeing the mistakes that they've made, you could save yourself a lot of trouble and headache.
Definitely big budget. I mean, if I made the mistakes for the 10 years that I made mistake, and then I share with them, probably I'm hoping you're going to make half years of those mistakes. Exactly. You know what I mean? You don't necessarily have to. But that's one thing that I want to plead with young people in Botswana, and even old people. Let's collaborate. Let's learn from other people, so that we can have. Eventually, you need to look back and say, wow, there's the masterpiece. I mean, that's the most important thing. But you need people to be at that level. You alone, you'll not make it.
Yeah, that's true. Collaborative effort is very important. So I think beyond just Ambrose Academy, let's talk about your personal vision for education in general here in Botswana.
Big budget, I've been crying for so many years, and I've been saying, why is our education not evolving? It worries me, because when you look into other countries, you realize that education has evolved so much. And then I always say to people, remember, a 3-year-old in Botswana should be functioning like a 3-year-old in South Africa, should be functioning like a 3-year-old in America, because now we are competing in a global village.
Absolutely.
When we went to school, we are coming back to work in Botswana. Now there are no jobs, so we need to be marketable. And for you to be marketable, the education system should be actually supporting that. My prayer and my wish is that our education should evolve. And I've challenged parents, because I always say to parents, remember, you are supposed to partner with school system. And I want parents, and my plea to parents is that please look at your child. Be honest and say, am I making the decision based on the justice for my child, or I'm just disadvantaging my child? As a parent, you can make that decision and say, no, my child needs support, I'm going to support them. Don't wait until it's late before you seek support for your child. It's not about you, it's about your child getting the service and your child becoming somebody in life, very important. But as for the educators and us who are part of working with the educators, I say, otherwise history is going to judge us, big budget.
Yeah, very true.
It's going to really judge us, because
we are answerable.
Yeah. Exactly. The next generation is going to ask, what did they do? They were educated, the government sponsored them to go to all these amazing universities, but what did they come and do back home? It's very important that educators and us professionals working in this space of education, we really sit down, put our egos aside and say, are we really evolving? Are we really saving the needs of the kids? Are we making sure that we are grooming the kids who will compete globally? We need to honestly answer those questions. And the policymakers, please, things will always evolve. Please look into policy making and making it easier for people to access and facilitate, so that the dreams can actually be built.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Really inspiring. So just to close off, how can we reach the services of Ambrose Academy?
You can actually follow us at www.ambroseacademy.co .bw. Okay, that's our website.
Yes.
And then our Facebook is Ambrose Academy, or you can call us at 3933-895 just to inquire about our services.
All right. Kutlwelo, let me thank you so much for your time. I think it's been quite an interesting interview, and I'm sure a lot of people will reach out to you to learn a bit more about the service that you have and social entrepreneurship. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Big Budget. Thank you.
Right, so our 2-minute tip for today is not necessarily business or technical related, but rather something more intrinsic. Good people, the world that we live in is dynamic, and the cyclical nature of our business environment requires us to constantly be making shifts. The COVID-19 pandemic, for instance, is something that has compelled us to adapt to new modes of business. So it's important for us to be able to embrace change. Change is very important. And, I've heard people say change is the only constant. So it's important for us to be able to move with the times, to move both ourselves as individuals and our businesses with the times. It's shape up or shape out. And secondly, there tends to be a bit of discomfort when it comes to this whole process of change. But we've noted that the discomfort is not necessarily within the change itself. Rather, it's related to our resistance to change. We need to understand that, resistance to change and not being able to adapt can be very harmful to us and our businesses, especially in environments where our competitors are consistently innovating and moving with the times. So it's important for all of us to be able to embrace change. It's been a wonderful show. From me, Big Budget, and the team, we thank you for your time. Good night and God bless. And always remember that you were born for so much more.